Hey everybody, welcome back to Champ & Sons and our NCAA football series with the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Now we ended the season with an all-state Sugar Bowl victory, 10 points over the UCLA Bruins. We were number 5, they were number 3. 41-31. It was a pretty good game. Really a tale of two halves for both teams, if you will. We dominated the first half. They came back on us in the second, but we were able to eke it out with some well-pointed scores there at the end. So now we're going to get into the offseason, right? And normally what happens with the offseason, you have a lot of, the last-minute recruiting stuff that happens. However, for us, we got most of our recruiting done in the season. Got most of our commits that we were looking to get. So we're not going to hit up a lot on the recruiting. So we are going to go through the process. I can tell you right now, I have no plans to leave Texas Tech at this time. We'll see what happens in the future. That was season number 2 with the Red Raiders, 9-4 in the first season, 13-1 here in the second season. So I think we're trending upwards, and that's kind of where I think we can get ourselves to stay here. We had the one blemish on our record with Texas, but other than that, an overall very successful season. Now, Brian Poole coming in with a single season rushing record for us, 21, almost 2,200 yards, and basically what amounted to a 14-game season, counting the championship and the bowl game. So great year for him, and that helped us earn a 7-year contract extension. 7-year contract extension. So I'm going to go ahead and accept this right now. Maybe in a few years, few seasons, depending on what happens, we'll see where we go, if we want to change some stuff up or not. But we'll take a look at it at that time. So as we're looking at some players leaving, obviously all our seniors are gone. Tyson Singletary, our beast off the end, and McMillan, our great receiver, both of them projected for the NFL draft for a 2nd and 6th round pick. Now, everybody else, we lost a bunch of good guys. Tim Miner, we lost him. Our right guard, Smith, he was gone. A couple of strong safeties, Massey, a cornerback, Jordan. And that's one downside that we do have is we're going to lose a lot of guys over this time. So Duncan, our senior quarterback, started out the season with us. Like everybody saw, we lost him, early on in Big 12 play with a spinal fracture. So unfortunate for him, but we gave a tryout for our 2 guys, Holt and Kennedy, that we had coming in behind him, and Holt won out, and obviously played exceptionally well in the bowl game and the championship game. Now, looking at some of the stats, these are our training results, right? So we didn't have too much scouting, but we got training results going on. And this, Chris Birch, 89 overall. He didn't get a +5 boost. I would like to have seen him a little bit higher. So we are going to have to definitely work on that with our running game. Now, our wide receivers, we got Cutler is going to be our number 1 receiver at a 90 overall, but look at his speed. He's only an 89. Kyle Jones still, he's our number 2 receiver, but he's got 96 speed. That's what I need on the outside is that type of speed, and we can hit that, get some of those long passes going, and we can start putting it back up in the air a little bit more often, right? Now, we're still going to be an option team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going back to the air raid style. That doesn't just breed long-term success. So we are still going to be running a more option-style offense, getting everybody set, taking the time to do what we need to do. But, having someone like Kyle Jones with that speed, it gives you a lot of options to stretch the field, especially when they're starting to bite on those runs, get some play actions working. It gives us a lot of places where we can go. Now, our offensive line is going to be a slight issue, right? We don't have a lot of experience. We lost a good chunk of guys from being seniors. So we're definitely going to have to build that up and work with that kind of going forward. I don't think we're going to get the same kind of protection we had last season. So we'll have to keep a watch on that. Maybe Holt might have to be a little bit more mobile in the pocket than last year on some of those passing plays. Now, linebacker, losing a guy like Miner, he played a big role in our defense. But Andre Hayes is going to be able to step up. He's an 81 overall. Aaron Johnson, an 86 overall, coming off the side. So I think we're going to be fine there. Defensive back, Franklin came up with some big interceptions for us. He's pretty good. So he's an 86. Now, Corey White's an 82, and then you see us drop off into the 70s. One thing I want us to pay attention to, though, is we have got speed. So we may not have, as many interceptions as we had last season. That's looking like that. We're probably not. But we've got a bunch of speed that is really going to, I think, pay off for us and kind of keep things limited in the passing game. So now we are going to jump into the recruiting and getting our board set up for the next season. Y'all know generally what my rules are. Top 5. You got to be in the top 5. So if we don't have anybody, if you're not a top 5, like if we're not in your top 5 schools, we're not going to recruit them. It's that simple. So 5-star guys still not wanting to come to us. Got a few 4-star and a pretty good chunk of 3 stars is the primary ones. But something that I have learned is do not completely discount your 3-star guys. There are some gems that can be picked up out of that 3-star group, even the 2-star group. And so you take what, obviously it's one of those kind of take what you can get type of things, but don't just look too far down on some of them because maybe they are just a 2-star or a 3-star. And if you look right here, Eric Campbell as a tackle, right now it said he's a 73. So obviously, with scouting, he can go up or down. But starting out as a 73 at a 3-star, if he just trends upward in the scouting, and then by the time he comes to us the next season, we're looking at possibly starting out with already, almost an 80 rating for a freshman, which means by the time he's a senior, we're looking at potential 90s. And so you got to look at it whenever we see these recruits, some of these 2-star and 3-star recruits that we have gunning, that we're going to be gunning for. It's not just where they're at now, but trying to vision where they will be. Look at Dennis there. He came in at a 67 overall middle linebacker, but he's got the potential to move up and to develop more. If we, in scouting, get him into the 70s, well, once again, we're talking that same trending upward pattern. And so that's what we have to look for. And that's kind of what we do go for when we perform scouting. So obviously we hit up our team needs. We're going to need offensive line. We're going to need linebackers. We're going to need defensive backs that have more than just speed skill, because I have a feeling our stopping the passing game is going to be a little rough this season. These guys are going to be making a lot of tackles, right? But stopping that passing game is probably going to be just a little bit rough. And so we'll kind of see how that works out for us, once we do get the year underway. But we're going to need defensive backs. Eventually I'm not going to really worry about scouting a kicker. I'll probably pull one up every now and then just to see, hey, if we can find ourselves, a kicker that wants to come to our school, great. Let's bring them on. What the hell, why not? We haven't had really a good, solid field goal kicking game since I came to Tech. So that's something to kind of keep in mind and look forward to. And another thing I got to look at, not only seeing where some of these guys are, right? So, like Bryant, we're 4th on his list. He is a 5-star recruit. But look at the schools that are ahead of us. Look at not just where we lie, but the schools that are ahead. Texas, A&M, OU on some of these guys. Arkansas gets thrown into the mix. A couple other big-name schools. And that's what's going to make it a lot harder. So we are going to have, once again this season, a performance-driven recruiting pattern. So while we eyeball these guys down and we select them, we are going to have to perform for them over the season. That's the only way. If we have a lead on some of these guys, it gives us a little bit of a leeway. But trying to come back, be 4th in the rankings on someone, and work your way up for them to want to come to your school, you got to schedule a visit at the right time. You got to keep scouting them. You got to keep performing and winning. And how we do with this season. Anybody that's in Texas, a lot of these players obviously have the UT on their rankings, generally ahead of us. So we play them. I told you from the very beginning, we're going to have a home-and-home series every year with the Longhorns. So we're going to play them, and that's where we have to step up on our side and actually win those games. If we don't win those games, then we're going to start losing that recruiting battle some, and we're just going to be stuck with some of these we're not going to be able to move up into those those categories for those individuals. So here's where we have our scouting board, right? Or recruitment board. So this is what we're looking at. I did get a few athletes. I like athletes and what they can do and the fact you can fit them into different positions, right? So Josiah Chance, first set of scouting, he actually drops, which I don't like to see. That's not a very positive sign. Everybody that we select here will be generally 50% scouted. So Scott Fitzpatrick, looking at him, he's a halfback, 68 overall. He's going to maintain. Kind of not surprised by that. So now Eric Campbell, mentioned him before, and look at that. He went from a 73 to a 75 with just 50% scouting. Now, will he go up too much from there? Maybe, maybe not. But them having these rankings and showing that improvement automatically just from scouting gives us a pretty good bump up into who we should go for. That's something that we have to focus on. Corey Dennis, middle linebacker, he dropped some. You can't read too much into that, but at the same time you can. Marcus Burrow, he increased all the way to 73 overall. Pierre Smith, he shot up. It may have just been 1 point, but 77 to 78. That's improvement. That's someone who can develop. So if we can get him, snag him, and bring him into the school, if he's already that at a freshman rating, imagine what he's going to be in his junior year. He's going to be one of them shutdown corners. You ain't getting past him. You ain't throwing the ball his way. So just keeping that type of stuff in mind. Andrew Bryant, another one of our athletes, 76 overall, maintained after just half the scouting. But look at the different ratings that they have. He's someone who can be a receiver. He's someone who can make catches in traffic. He can tackle. So, you're talking receiver, cornerback, safety, all different kinds of positions that we can fit these guys in, right? So that's always something we need to watch out for as we go forward. Our running backs, we are getting a little scarce and limited on them. We got, 3 on our roster right now. So we are definitely scouting and recruiting some running backs to come to our school. And we need them to be a little bit option-based speed backs so we can get them out in the open. That's going to be the biggest thing. If we get these guys out with some open space, can they come through and, punch it into the end zone? And look at Jared Sampson. He was a 68 overall, 50% scouting, boosted up to a 75. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, don't just sleep on guys. Don't just go for those 5-star guys. Look at these guys that are, labeled as a 3-star or even a strong 2-star. Get them scouted and look at how they improve for you. Joe Davis, a tight end, coming in at 66 overall. Wasn't the number 1 tight end on there, but he's pretty well and all of a sudden boosted up. James Leonard, he's going to improve. Scouting is going to play a big role. So I'm going to focus on getting that type of thing done early on in the season as we get through these first few weeks before we worry about offering a scholarship. Some guys, if I think we need to offer a scholarship to, before just to kind of give us those additional, recruiting points, might do it. I want to make sure there's someone that we want that's going to fit our team. So while maybe they have good ratings, maybe they look good. But if they don't want to come to our school, then I'm not going to worry about even offering them a scholarship. So this is going to be our roster as it stands. We are redshirting players right now, and generally my theory when it comes to redshirting guys, first of all, you're going to have to be a freshman. You're not going to be one of the higher up freshmen. You're going to have a lower rating. I want to take that time to develop you. We brought you in because we know you're good. Steve McAfee, Anderson right there, both of them 64 overalls. But if you look, Jonathan Anderson, he has got less speed, less strength. His agility is definitely up and acceleration, but his awareness. But we need speed, we need strength. That's the only way you're going to hold on to the ball when you're getting tackled in big time Division I football. So we need all of that from our receivers. So those guys are a little bit slower, so we will redshirt them. Coming into the offensive line. We got a senior red shirt and a junior red shirt, and a couple freshmen. So I'm going to go ahead and take actually our better freshman right there, and we will redshirt him to get him time to develop, knowing that probably next season he's probably not going to play. So this one he's redshirted. Next season, he's going to have 2 years of development before he really steps on. outside of possibly some blue chip athlete deciding to come to our school and stepping into that left tackle spot. But that's kind of my view in scouting and redshirting, or not scouting, recruiting and redshirting players and making adjustments to our lineup and our roster is you got to look at the whole picture. So that with these college kids, it's not just, let me look at them for this season. Let me wait. I'm going to sign some guy to a 10-year contract. No, it's not like that, like it is in the NFL. It's, I got you for about 4 to 5 years. So I got to see where you are now and where I want you to be versus what I already have now. And if I can say, well, I want you to be here in 3 years, which is going to be greater than what I have now, but you're not quite to where I need you yet, then I'm going to redshirt you. It's that simple, Especially coming in from our defensive backfield, I prefer speed. We know guys are going to be able to get behind us some or get out into open space, but if we can chase guys down and make tackles, that's really going to limit the points scored. And then, of course, as teams kind of march on you, the less field they have to work with. So, the more coverage you're able to do. So the fact that you may not be that great in coverage, if you get the right zone going with some speedy guys, you'll be able to really defend pretty well, right? So here it is, taking a look at our kick return. This is something that I've always had a focus on, whether it be college football or Madden. Kick return is a big thing, and especially in these games, it can split some stuff wide open for us. We saw what McMillan was able to do on a couple kick returns for a touchdown he had last season. And so that's, we need to have that kind of spark right there. And so that's why I try not to put in my starting guys too much, especially on a kickoff return. A punt return, yeah, I'll put in my starting receiver or something as a punt returner. But kickoff return, I don't know, I just don't always like having the starter there. I prefer, have some guys with speed, but other than that, maybe not the starter, not risk him getting hurt on that type of play versus a punt return, which for some reason in my mind, as I say it, sounds foolish, but feels safer than a kickoff return. Just does. And on a kickoff return, if they boot it in the end zone, you may not actually bring it out. So why put a guy back there and, let him pull his hammy making a catch? No need for that stuff. So I do always rearrange our kick returners and focus primarily on speed. Speed is a big thing. Get to that outside edge, boom, get out there into open space, fly like the wind, get into the end zone, and next thing you know, momentum has turned. The tide has turned in our game, and we're poised to take the lead again. We've taken the lead. We've expanded on the lead. We've done everything that we need to. And so it really just comes down to trying to find the right guy to put back there, And, it's amazing. Some guys like our running back, Birch, he has got a lot of speed, but you put him in a return type of position, this doesn't always seem to work out. Their ratings will definitely change, obviously, the overall, but speed is something that normally shouldn't change, but it kind of actually does. Depending on the position that you put him in. They may have certain speed at a running back, put him as a returner, it's completely different. So it's weird, but, sometimes it works out that way. And that's why you got to be careful with it. You got to make sure you get the right guy back there. Kyle Jones, I do put him as our punt returner. I think that can be a game changer for us. So it's something big to think about. Now, here is our schedule going to be for the next season. And I don't like having, powder puff teams and all that in there. I want it to be a little difficult. And we're going to have to play against difficult teams to get any respect. Because if you notice, we dropped all the way back to number 19. We were number 5. We dropped back to 19. So here we are going forward in the next season. We'll take on Nebraska week number 1 at AT&T Stadium. And then we go back to Tennessee in week number 2. Now, that's where I came from. That's where we got our butts kicked my first year at Tech at Tennessee. So we're going to go back, try to give them a little bit of payback on that one. And then we were home versus Texas. And then we start to see Big 12 play open up after a bye week. After that 3-game kind of rally we got to get through. But we got Kansas at home, followed by Iowa State at home. And then we're on the road to Stillwater, to Manhattan, Kansas, against the Wildcats. Another bye week. And we finish off the rest of our Big 12 schedule, which is going to be visiting at UCF, home versus Houston, at TCU, home versus Virginia, and then we should also be home versus Baylor. So it is going to be, the non-conference schedule is going to be a tough one. And I made it that way on purpose. Nebraska's number 13, Tennessee's number 22, Texas unranked. 2 SEC teams. They are what they are. So we'll have to see what we can do against them. But if we are going to go undefeated, if we are going to try to get into a national championship game, we need to have this kind of schedule. If we don't have this kind of schedule, we're not going to get what we need, and no one's going to pay us the respect that we need to be paid. And so that's why we did plan it out this way. It's going to be a fierce one. It's going to be a hard season. But I think Holt has got half a season under his belt, a couple big games, a Big 12 championship, the Sugar Bowl game. We got Kyle Jones coming back as a receiver. We got a lot of great guys on defense. Anderson will be there and everything, so it should be a fun ride. And now with that in mind, I do want to remind y'all to hit the subscribe button if you have not already. And if you did like today's episode, go ahead and give us a thumbs up on that one. It really does help out the channel. And we do greatly appreciate everything that y'all do for us here at Champ and Sons. So on that note, thank y'all very much for joining us. Thank you all for the support we've shown the series and the channel in the last few weeks. I really do appreciate it. Thank y'all very much. And so on that note, I will see y'all in the next episode. So as always, everybody stay safe and well. Y'all know how it goes by now, right? Later, y'all.